Hello and happy Sunday. The time is here for another weekly reading vlog, and yeah, today I don't really have any plan. My nan might be popping over a little bit later, but that is it. I've got myself a caramel latte, which is absolutely boiling hot, so I can't drink it yet, and I am going to start reading Some Lucky Day by Ellie, which is the seventh book in the Cliffhaven series, and this one is following somebody called Kitty who is injured. So she is a pilot and she gets injured and has to stay at Cliffhaven, which in Cliffhaven at the Beachview boarding house, which is a boarding house that somebody called Peggy Riley owns, and all of the other books have followed somebody else who has stayed at this boarding house and their journey, and then along with the family that also live there. So I'm really looking forward to getting into it. I do have a bookmark in it. It says I'm on page 10, but apparently I read 10 pages last night, so it's not, I couldn't even make it to the first chapter, but the chapters are quite long in here. So I think the first chapter is about 20 something pages long, 27 pages long for the first chapter. So I didn't even get a chance. I was just so tired, so I started reading it and then I put it down. So my plan is to read this. This is the last physical book on my April TBR. I will check in with you later. I am sat here reading my book and I just thought I would check in. So I haven't actually read all that much. I'm on page 64. My nan came to visit and we went out for a little bit of a walk. We tried to get a coffee we've got quite a few independent coffee shops, but none of them were open, and the one that was open had just turned off its coffee machine. So we didn't get a coffee, but we got a cake, and then we went to the co-op and we also tried to get a coffee there from their Costa machine, and then when we were trying to make it, it stopped working. So we got one of those little Starbucks iced coffee things and sat on a bench and just had a little chill in the sunshine. We went and had a look at the Free Little Library / book box, and my nan picked up a book out of there, which was a World War II wartime book. So she's got that to read, and I am reading my World War II wartime book. And it's still just setting everything up, so it's not really into the story yet, but it's introduced the main character, Kitty, who is a pilot, and she was flying a plane. The plane crashed, but she seems to be okay at the moment, and then it has now gone to Peggy Riley, whose point of view, who is the person who owns the Beachview boarding house, who is sort of like one of the main characters throughout the book. And what I really like about these are how they introduce the characters, and they also then talk about all the other people who live at the house and all the other different people involved, but in more of an organic way. So it's just Peggy's talking about things and discussing all these different things that she's doing and what's happening, and that is how we get a little bit of an introduction into the other people who live there, which helps because if you're picking just this one up, you get the backstory, but then also it's just like a little bit of a refresher and a reminder of who's there and who they are. So I really like that. And yeah, I'm almost at chapter 4, which is not too bad. I find these books, the amount of pages in the chapter seems quite long because it's like 20 to 25 pages per chapter, but the actual like amount of words on the page, like there's really big margins, so there's not actually that much on the page. So it's really funny, every time I read a book one of these, I always think, oh, the chapters are long because the number of pages, but then they're actually really quick to read because there's not actually as many words on the page because the writing is quite a large font, really. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get a good chunk of the way through this, and I will check in with you once the story has really started. It's now 20 to 9 and I have been reading more of Ellie Dean, Some Lucky Day. I wasn't sure if I was having a FaceTime call with my sister this evening, but she's not feeling very well, so I thought instead I'm going to get myself into the bath. I'm going to have a really nice bubble bath and then get into bed and power through some more of this book. I'm 92 pages in, which is actually pretty good. So it's still, as I said, setting up really. I just feel like these books are just so wholesome, even though they are obviously based around World War II, the war. They just feel really wholesome and cozy. There's something a bit nostalgic about them. I like, obviously it's the boarding house. We know a lot of the characters. We've been with them for a few years, obviously the spell book. So I just really enjoy reading these. The person who's the main character of this book has not fully got to the boarding house yet, but I think she'll be coming soon. She's met some of the other people who live at their boarding house, so I'm sure she'll be there soon. And there's just lots of little things I really like. There's the dog Harvey, who is always up to mischief. So yeah, I think I'm going to get myself into the bath because I got some really nice bubble bath yesterday. So yeah, I thought I will do that and I will catch up with you a little bit later. It is Monday again already. The weekends just seem to go far too quickly and I'm back at work. So yeah, I left you yesterday saying that I was going to get into the bath and do some reading. I did get in the bath and I did a little bit of reading, but it wasn't very relaxing. A spider decided to jump into my bath. I then jumped out the bath and hurt my shoulder. So it wasn't a particularly relaxing or long bath at all, but there we are. Hopefully today will be better and there will be no spiders. There's been so many spiders recently, but we're not going to go into that. So I have, of course, been reading Some Lucky Day by Ellie Dean. I am now 172 pages into this, and I will say it's quite funny because I was saying yesterday about how wholesome these books are, how they feel really nostalgic to me and quite comforting. But do not get me wrong, because these are set in World War II, they do have some really intense topic. But I feel like they're dealt with in a really good way. So they are mentioned, there are things, of course, it's set around a war. They're not going to be all fluffy and light and, no issues. But I feel like it's also realistic. So it does go through and discuss really important topics. There are injuries, there are problems, there are people that are suffering, and these things are happening, but it's also showing how important it is to carry on, all those kind of things. And I think there's a lot that can be said about these kind of books, but I also feel like Ellie Dean really does a good job of understanding everything that's happened, and she does her research. She really researches all about things that happen, and as I said, I can't say for certain that all of it is 100%, but I do feel like she does a lot of research and understanding what happens, and tries to make it as truthful as possible but also making this a book that people would want to read without it being too depressing. So yeah, I'm 172 pages in. I've read quite a bit of it. As I said, I feel like the amount of actual words on the page compared to how it looks is not as much, so they are a lot quicker than you'd think to read. So I will keep going with this and check in with you later. It is lunchtime. I'm reading Some Lucky Day by Ellie Dean. I've read a chapter better while on my lunch break, and yeah, slowly making progress. Yeah, as I said, it is still just a nice, easy read. I do find it quite funny. So in this book, they have introduced like the national loaf, and there's a section in it where all the people are complaining about it and saying that they don't want it, no one's going to eat it, it's disgusting, and the baker's having to say, well, this is all I've got. And then one of the main characters goes in, like he catches the tail end of the discussion, and then he's in the shop and he gets a small like paper bag of just bits of crumbs from the floor and things like that, because he's got ferrets, so they use them, like he pads the food out with it. But it's like he hands the bag over, the baker does, and he's like, oh, like there'll be more of that tomorrow, and all these women start flocking around him like, well, what has he got, what are you giving him? And he has to be like, it's breadcrumbs from the floor. And I just think that is just so what would happen. Like people are just like, oh well, somebody else is getting something, I need that, even if it's actually not something that you want or need at all. So that's made me laugh. The main character Kitty is going through a rough time at the moment. Her plane crashed and she's coming to terms with some of the things that have happened because of that, and she is staying in the hospital locally in Cliffhaven. So she hasn't yet met the boarding house owner, Peggy, but Peggy has been told about her, so I think there's going to be a point where they meet, get together, and she comes to live at the boarding house and joins the rest of the gang. But yeah, as I said, for the typically I rate these 3 stars. They're just they're little what I call palate cleansers that I read in between some of my other books. So they're not anything groundbreaking, but I do enjoy them. And as I said, my nan gave me the whole series, so I will be reading and then donating. I also requested some books from the library yesterday, so I put in a request. So my library is actually within walking distance of my house, and I utilise it quite a bit, but I go through phases of using it, and then I'll be like, well, I actually need to get through all the books that I own, and then not using it as much. So I have requested 2 books from the library, so once they come in I will share them with you. But also I'm going to try, I think, and start going back to the library more and potentially putting at least 1 library book on my TBR for the month, probably starting in June, because I have already organised my May TBR, but it also depends when these books come in that I've requested, but I will figure that out and see. But yes, I will be trying to utilise my library much more, and you know, getting some different books out of there, because I think it's quite easy to just pick up books from the bookshop which are more popular, ones that people know, because you're buying the book, so you kind of want to have a little bit of an idea on whether you think you're going to like it. Now, of course, you still want to do that with the library, but it's not as much of a risk if you pick a book out of the library and then you end up not enjoying it. You haven't paid any money, and I feel like I've been getting a lot of books solely based on, oh, I've seen this online, or I've heard really good things about this, rather than picking out books that I think I might enjoy just from reading what it's about. So that's something that I'm going to try and work on. But I also do find that my reading taste is very varied. I do have quite a variety of different genres and different types of book, but I think it is something that I would just like to be a little bit more conscious of, that I'm not just picking up books that are popular because they're popular, rather than because it's popular but also I enjoy it and it is something that I would read. That's just a little thought that I've had, and yeah, I will try and give you an update on this a little bit later. I also need to pick up a book for my Kindle. I need to pick something out to read, but I'm really struggling to know what I want. But I do have a few arcs coming up, so I may pick an arc that I need to read like that for next month, because the next few months are going to be really busy with work. So I might get a jump on that. So if I do pick something up, again, I will share with you and let you know what I have decided to pick up. But I will definitely check in with you later. It is now about 9:10 and I have been reading for most of the evening. Again, still just reading Ellie Dean, Some Lucky Day, and I'm now 300 pages in, which is just over halfway, and I'm still really enjoying it. There's just lots of shenanigans. There's a puppy that has turned up who's causing trouble, and one of the main characters, which I always find really funny, Cordelia, Mrs. Phil, she is hard of hearing and she has a hearing aid, but her hearing aid doesn't work. So she's always mishearing what everybody's saying, and I just find it really funny. So yeah, I have been sat here. I've got this blanket I crocheted when I was at uni, and I found it out the other day and gave it a good wash and thought it's a perfect thing to put on the reading chair because it gets quite chilly in here because we get all the sun the back of the house and this is the front of the house, so especially in the evening because we haven't had the sun in here all day, it gets quite chilly. So it's just been quite nice to have that, which is also why I'm always in a jumper because my office is also at the front of the house, which is cold. So yeah, I have been reading this and already halfway through, and again really enjoying it. It's difficult because it's like it's like the 7th book in a series. Most of the characters are reoccurring characters, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm just finding it just so easy to read, and because work's so busy at the moment, it's actually really nice to just pick something up that I don't have to think about too much. I can just sit and read it and not have to worry about anything, like if I'm reading a fantasy book or the different world building and stuff. So yeah, this is why I do like to pick these up every so often. And earlier I looked at the shelf and I've got one on my May TBR, and then I've still got another 10 on the shelf to read. So I will be reading these for quite some time. So yes, I think I'm going to get myself upstairs and into bed because I'm quite tired and I'm getting a little bit of a headache. I think I'm going to get myself up into bed and read for the rest of the evening, and I will probably check in with you tomorrow. Now Tuesday, and I'm coming to you from a slightly different location. So firstly I realised that all my videos seem to be me sat in the chair, and then Dottie is ever so cozy in the chair, if you can see her, and I really didn't want to disturb her, so I just thought I would come and film my update from here, which gives a little bit of variety. So not much to update on Some Lucky Day. I haven't really read that much of it, but I have finally picked up a new Kindle book, and it is an ARC, so I will be reading The Midnight Train by Haig, and this is the second book in the Midnight World series. So the first book is The Midnight Library, and then this one is the second one, which is an ARC, and it is set to be released on the 21st of May. But then, so I looked on Goodreads, and Goodreads is saying the 26th of May, but I have taken the date from NetGalley, so I'm unsure if it's being released in different dates, obviously depending on if it's US or UK. I'm assuming that the NetGalley one is the UK release date because I'm in the UK and registered as in the UK on NetGalley, and then the one on Goodreads is the US date, but I'm don't quote me on that. That is just my assumption. So I loved The Midnight Library, and so when I saw this on NetGalley, I was like, I need it. And I was very lucky to be accepted for this because I know it's quite an anticipated release. I know a lot of people have been really interested in this, so I was very lucky to get it. I haven't started it yet, but I just thought I would tell you a little bit about it. So it seems to be a time travel book, which it's been quite a while since I read The Midnight Library, but that again, I guess that one's slightly different, but it all has that kind of element of like traveling through time or to different realities. So yeah, this one is about time travel. So I'll just quickly read you it. Just have it here. It says, when your life flashes before your eyes, where would you stop? No one can change the past, but the midnight train can take you there. The chance to relive the moments that mean the most, to see what kind of person you really are. For Wilbur, his best days are with Maggie, the love of his life, on his honeymoon in Venice, before he gave it all away. He wishes he could go back and live differently, but to do so risks everything. So yes, I don't know if this is going to be a case of you can go back in time and change things, or you are only able to go back in time and see what happened, and whether there's potential that you can then learn from that and then change it in the present. But I am really intrigued by this, and I really love Matt Haig's writing style. As I said, the Midnight Library was amazing, so I'm really hoping for good things from this. So I just wanted to get a jump on this arc because I do have a couple that are being released in May, and so yeah, I thought I'd get a start on with this. So I'm really looking forward to diving in. It is now Wednesday. We are halfway through the week, and I have been reading a little bit more of Some Lucky Day by Ellie Dean. I'm now 363 pages in, so I'm quite close. I'm really hoping that I can get this finished by the end of the month, which is, I've just got today and tomorrow, so I'm convinced that I can get this done. The main character, Kitty, has now moved into the boarding house, and so she is going to be living with them while she fully recovers. And I'm still really enjoying it. It's as expected, in all honesty. I do find that the back covers of these, so like the synopsis, does give quite a lot of the story away, because considering I'm 360 odd pages into this, she's only just moved into the boarding house, but the back of the book mentions that she moves into the boarding house to help her like recover, and so I just think that's a little bit strange to me. But I guess it's just because in the grand scheme of things there's not a huge plot to these stories. It is mostly just these people in this community living with the war, so maybe that's why they decide to do that. So yes, I will try and keep going with this, try and get this finished as soon as possible. And yeah, I didn't do much reading last night because I had filmed and edited a video and uploaded it to YouTube, and then realised the quality had like significantly decreased. So I then spent ages with Dave and we were trying to figure out exactly what's going on, and I also noticed, looking back, that this had happened on most of my videos. So we have, I believe, now figured out how to at least increase the quality a little bit. So the overall quality of the videos and the colour of the videos, so it was just really washing everything out, and then we see the overall quality when played on the screen was not great. So I'm hoping now that this will start to improve. So yeah, thank you to everybody who has stuck through it, because they have not been great, and I'm hoping that they will start to improve. But I am still learning, I am still getting to grips with everything. I'm not very good at editing or anything like that, so it has been a learning curve for me, but I'm hoping that they will then start to get better. But yeah, just thought I would flag that I do realise that the videos weren't great quality, and hopefully that will pick up from now. It's the afternoon and I have received an email from the library to say that one of my books is ready to collect. so I am going to go and pick that up. And it came in a lot quicker than I was expecting, so I think it might have been Sunday that I requested this book, so it has come in pretty quickly considering the library is also not open on a Tuesday. But yeah, I am looking forward to go picking that up. It's just the one. I have reserved another book, so the second one it isn't in yet, so let's see. But usually they tend to come in like one after the other, so it'll be really awkward. I can imagine. I'm gonna go and pick this one up, and then tomorrow I'll get an email saying your book is ready to collect, and then I go back the next day like, hi, I'm here to get my book again. I will show you what I got. It is now 10 to 9 and I am getting ready to go and have a shower before I get into bed. So I thought I would quickly show you the book I picked up from the library and then a little update on my reading progress. So I picked up Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and because I've seen this everywhere and I've seen it for years, never picked it up, and I saw it was on offer on Amazon. I think it was last month, and I really nearly bought it and then I didn't buy it, and then the deal went and I was like, oh, missed the chance. So I thought, oh, I'll check the library, see if it's there. And it was. So this, for anyone who doesn't know, I feel like so many people have already read this, they probably know what it's about, but this is set in the future and humanity has evolved to the point where people can no longer die, and this causes overpopulation. So the only way that you can die is to be gleaned by a scythe, and the two characters in this, Citra and Rowan, are two people who are training to become scythe, and it's like there's corruption, there's problems, there's things happening that are maybe not all they be. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I say that and I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to read it, because I have my May TBR, which I said I'm keeping this really chill because I'm really busy with work, and then I've just added this. But because it is a YA and it doesn't see, I think it's less than 500 pages and the font seems to be decent, I think this is one that I could probably read pretty quickly, so we will see. I think I've got it for about a month, so I will see where I get with that. And then just an update, the only book that I have been reading, because I'm desperate to get this finished before the end of the month, is Some Lucky Day by Ellie. I'm now 446 pages, so just over 100 pages to go. So I'm really hoping that I can read a little bit more tonight and then get this finished tomorrow, and that means that I will have read all of the books I needed to read for my April physical TBR. And yeah, I'm still really enjoying it. It's as I said, quite predictable, quite easy to read. There's a lot going on in this. There's a lot, as I said, the main character has had an injury and it's quite a serious one, so there's a lot of discussions around that. But I really like how the whole vibe of it, and the fact that Peggy is there to help her through it, and you know, she's going through a really rough time and everybody's there to support her and help her and do what they can. Everybody's banding together, so it's really good. There's been a hint of a potential romance for the main character and one of her brother's friends, so I have a feeling that is going to be something that happens. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm really hoping I can get this done, and then I will move on to something else. But I haven't been reading anything on my Kindle, but I do, as I said, I will probably read some of The Midnight Train by Haig, and once I do, I will let you know. And also, just a little aside, when I went to the library, they sometimes do book folding events, and you might have seen this in some of my videos, but I did go to one, I think it might have been last summer, and I made this dash out this little sausage dog out of books, and they have got another one at the end of next month, and it's to make like a little fairy house, and the picture looks amazing. It's got moss on it, it's got like buttons and all this cute stuff, so mine probably won't look that good, but I am thinking I'm going to go because I think that would just look so cute on the bookshelf. So that is something that I'm really looking forward to, and I will show you probably my super lopsided fairy house. But yeah, I love that our local library does stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to go now and get myself into the shower and hopefully read more of my book, and I will catch up with you later. So it's now Thursday, and this is the second time that I have actually tried to film this. The first time I forgot to turn my microphone on, so it was completely silent, and I'd done the whole clip, but that was great. It's a little bit later in the day. It is just after lunchtime, and I spent about 45 minutes of my lunch break outside in the sunshine reading my book, because it's such a nice day today. Look, it's so warm out there. It's really nice. It's actually getting a bit too hot, but it does mean that I have finally finished Some Lucky Day by Ellie, and my bookmark doesn't need to be in there. That was just to keep it from blowing away in the wind. I gave this 3 stars, as I predicted throughout this video. I think all of the books that I've read previously I've given 3 stars to, so that's no surprise. Overall, I did enjoy this book. As I've said, they're really easy to read. I sort of use them as palette cleansers. The only thing that I will say about this one is that the ending, it seemed to wrap everything up really quickly. There was something that happened, and it all just seemed to happen really quickly in the last sort of 100 pages. Everything was wrapped up, all done and concluded, and I just wish that had taken a little bit more time rather than it feeling quite rushed. But I understand that it's been about Kitty. This book is about Kitty in the boarding house, and so it's probably that she wanted to have everything wrapped up nice and neatly for the end. I just wish that it could have taken a little bit more time. It would have felt a little bit more realistic and a little bit more believable. But overall, it wasn't a bad book. But yeah, I am kind of glad that I finished this now. Firstly, because it means that I have finished the book that I needed to finish before the end of the month, and also hopefully I can then read some more things, because I feel like this vlog is just going to be I read this book. But it is quite a chunky book, so I don't think that's too bad. But yes, I will hopefully now be moving on to something else. Because I finished Some Lucky Day, it's now time for me to pick my next physical read, and because it will be May tomorrow, I will be picking that from my May TBR, and I thought I have 6 books on my May TBR. It was 5, but then I got the book out from the library, so it is 6 books, and I thought that we could do my most favourite thing and roll the die to decide what the next book will be. Here we have the 6 books. And then here is my dice. So I'm going to give this a roll. And that is 5. So I'm going to go from this side. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is Castle in the Air by Deanna Wynne Jones. And I'm actually really looking forward to this. So this is the second book in the Howl's Moving Castle series, and it is quite short. This is a children's book, so this will probably be quite a quick read. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm all cozy in my armchair with the fairy lights on, so the lighting isn't great, but I have turned on the lights on my tripod, so hopefully the quality isn't too bad. But yeah, I'm all cozy. I've got 2 blankets on because I've gotten really chilly this evening, and I'm just all snug and relaxed. So I have been reading The Midnight Train by Haig, which is an arc, and it is released mid-May. I can't remember the exact date, but I will find out and let you know. I am 31% of the way through this, which is really good. I am finding that it's really quick to read. The chapters are quite short, so the shortest chapter is like half a page, and they're typically around 2 to 3 pages long, with the longest one I've read so far being about 10 minutes. So that is then making it really easy for me to read. I'm finding that I'm reading it quite quickly because I'm just getting to the next chapter rather than pausing at any point. I'm really enjoying it. The writing style is really great, and I think I did mention briefly what this is about. I think I read the synopsis, but I'll just tell you quickly here. So this is about a man called Wilbur who passes away, and after he does, he is transported onto the midnight train. So the midnight train is a mode of transport that everybody takes, which can be different modes of transport, so other people may not get a train, but he does because it is relevant to his life. So he's on this train, and as he's travelling on it, he sees a snippet of his life through the windows, and there are certain points where the train will stop and let him on, and he can view his memories up close. And he doesn't pick when that happens, it just happens at certain points. The train will slow down and he can get off. But there are some rules, and one of the rules is that he is not to sort of interfere and try and get the attention of his past self, and the other one is that once the train comes back to pick him up to continue on his journey, he has to get back on the train. And as I said, I am really enjoying this. I do think it's going to be an emotional read. A lot of Matt Haig's books are quite emotional, so I think this one will absolutely be on a similar vein. But I'm really enjoying it so far. It's just really nice read, and the chapters are short, which I do really enjoy. The fact that I'm 31% of the way through already is really good, because I've not actually read low this evening. So we popped out to Sainsbury's, did some shopping. I bought a book which is over there, and I can't be bothered to get up right now, but I will potentially show you that later, well, tomorrow. Yeah, and then we've been back, had food, things like that. So I would say really I've only been reading for about 2 hours, so to be 31% of the way through is quite good for me. I don't know how many pages it is, but because it is an arc, it doesn't have like pages, it has the percentage. I'm really looking forward to getting into it more. I think I'm going to chill down here for another half an hour, because it is about 9:30, and then get myself up into bed. I'm just going to read my book and finish the rest of my Pepsi Man, and I'm sure I will speak to you tomorrow. It's finally Friday, and I am very much looking forward to today being done. It is a bank holiday weekend this weekend, so I get an extra day, which I'm really looking forward to. I just got distracted by Rosie just chilling there. I think she's in a lot of them, but I don't know why I noticed her specifically. But I thought I would just pop in and let you know that I have been reading more of The Midnight Train by Matt Haig. I'm now halfway through this, and I think it's telling me I'm only going to have about 2 or 3 hours to finish it. It must not be a particularly long book. I think I mentioned yesterday that because it is an arc, it doesn't actually give me the number of pages, so I don't know how long it is, and I don't always trust Goodreads because I feel like they just make it up. But yeah, I'm 50% of the way through. I'm still really enjoying this. I can just feel that it's going to be emotional. Not sure whether I will cry. I don't tend to cry much at books, which is funny because I cry at everything else. But I do think this is going to be quite an emotional one for me. But I'm actually thinking I might get this finished today because it's still quite sunny. I'm hoping that at lunchtime I can head out again and do some reading outside, and then read it this evening. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that. And if so, that'll be a really nice quick read for me, which will mean that I won't have only read one book during this reading vlog, but I still don't think that's too bad considering the other book was quite a long book. But I haven't made a start on Castle in the Air yet, so I still have this, but I have put my bookmark at the beginning, little bookmark I thought was fitting for this. So yeah, I am looking forward to getting started on this. The weather is honestly so nice outside. I have just gotten myself back inside after spending about 45 minutes outside reading my book. And yeah, I didn't want inside, but sadly I have to. So I have still been reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I'm making good progress on this. I'm 66% of the way through. It's telling me I've got an hour and 45 minutes until I finish this. So it's been such a quick read. So I'm really hoping that I will get this finished tonight, which would be amazing. So it's really difficult to say anything about this story without potentially spoiling it, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm finding, as I said, that it's reading really quickly. It is getting a little bit emotional. I can see, well, I have an idea of where this may be going. I could be completely wrong, but it is giving me the same kind of vibes as when I read The Midnight Library. It's, if you've read that book, it's similar in the feel of it, the world, that kind of thing, not necessarily the storyline, but I think this might be a 5-star at the end. We shall see how it goes, depending on how it all finishes. But yes, it has gotten a little bit emotional, but so I go to get myself upstairs and have a cozy bath. Hopefully there will be no spiders shenanigans this time. So I thought I would quickly check in. I am still reading The Midnight Train by Matt Haig. I'm so close to the end. I'm 90% of the way through and I've got, it says half an hour left, so I will most likely finish this while I'm in the bath. It's definitely ramping up. I feel like definitely getting emotional. Yeah, very hard hitting. There's a lot going on. It's difficult because I don't really want to say too much, but I am still really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this will all wrap up at the end. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I can't believe how quickly I've managed to read this, so that's amazing. And then once I've finished that, I'll make a start on Castle in the Air. And I thought while I was here I would just quickly show you the book that I picked up yesterday that I was too lazy to pick up and show you, and that is Books and Bewitchment by Ilse Jewell. And as you can imagine, the reason that I picked this up was because of the cover. It looks super cute. So I don't know loads about this. I saw it in the shop and thought the cover looked really cute. I had a quick look at the back. So it looks like it's a romance. And this is about a main character called Ria who inherits a bookshop from her grandmother, and then there's this handyman that's going to help her to form this bookshop. I think something along those lines, and it's got magic in it, and it just sounded really cute and wholesome and fun read, so I picked it up. It was only £4 in Sainsbury's, and as I said, it was the cover that drew me in, so I'm looking forward to giving that a go. I am going to get myself into the bath for at least an hour or two, hopefully, and I won't get disturbed by spiders, and then I'm going to get myself into bed. I've got an early morning tomorrow because I'm going into town with my nan, and we are going to try and hopefully find me a new armchair. So we're going to look in some charity shops and see if we can find me a nice cozy armchair, because I want to replace the one that we have here because it's not very comfortable. Yes, I will speak to you in a bit. So as you can probably tell, I have just gotten out of the bath, and before I dry my hair and get myself fully into bed, I thought I would quickly come and tell you that I have finished The Midnight Train by Matt Haig, and I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. It was emotional. There was a lot of important lessons about life and, you know, what's important in life, and not to just think about money, all these kind of things, which I did really enjoy. It just, personally for me, it just wasn't as impactful as I was hoping it was going to be. I didn't cry. I didn't get that upset. I kind of had a feeling like I kind of guessed what was going to happen. Not that it was a big of reveal or anything, but I just kind of could tell where the story was going. So I gave it 4 stars. I think I do prefer The Midnight Library, but it has been quite a long time since I've read that, so I would be interested to see what rating I gave it if I reread that, whether it would still be. I think I gave that 5 stars. I should have checked, but yes. So I have now finished this, which is great, and I will be reviewing that on NetGalley soon. And then, because I finished that quite quickly while I was in the bath, I did start reading Castle in the Air by Deanna Wynne Jones, but I'm only up to chapter 2 and 23 pages in, so not really much to say at the moment. It's just introduced the first character. yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into this some more. So not a bad amount of reading, actually, over 500 pages in some lucky day, which I can't show you because I donated it to the book box on my lunch break. And then as soon as I was coming back, I thought to myself, probably should have kept that until after I'd wrapped up the vlog, but never mind. So 2 books read and another one started. I don't think that's bad at all. I can't believe how quickly I finished The Midnight Train, so I'm really impressed. And I will be looking to pick up another Kindle book, but I haven't decided what that is yet. But yeah, that is where I'm going to conclude this vlog. It is nearly 10 o'clock and I want to sort my hair out and then get into bed and probably read some more Castle in the Air. So thank you so much for watching, and I would love it if you subscribed and leave comments. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what books you are currently reading, just anything. I'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, thank you.